Hello, everyone. I'm Kerry George from CIBN TV on YouTube. That's where you can find us, as well as at the CIBN.com. And today I'm going to be talking about how to increase your business revenue through time management. And in fact, time really matters because you've only got 24 hours in a day and you got to make them count. So we're going to be talking about how to double your revenue or more by doing some simple time management methods here. So you're going to want to stay tuned to find out more about how to make your time matter. I'm Kerry George, and I'm going to be talking about how time matters and how to make it matter more for you as you are building your business. And I generally talk to entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals about how to increase their overall revenue. We have a great business network at the CIBN.com where we can help you do all kinds of things for your business. But time management and making more money are generally two of the things that all business owners struggle with. If I had to list the top two biggest problems that business owners have, it generally comes down to, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. And when they get more money, they run out of time. So how do we make our time matter more? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. And in fact, I've learned some simple things along the way. Been doing this for well over a decade now. And I've learned some things that have really helped me get things done in a superb way. Anyone who knows me knows that I am a butt kicker. I get things moving and shaking in my business, and I help other people to do that too. And I've been doing it for more than a decade with thousands of businesses. So this will help you. I am absolutely certain of it. So let's get started, shall we? All right. The first thing that we need to know is if you are running short on time is, well, where is your time going? How are you spending it right now? So one of the first things that I like to have people do as they are starting to figure out what could be the most impactful thing for them to be spending their time on is to first figure out, what are you spending on now? So how do you do that? If you have not been tracking your time at all, I have two very simple methods that'll help you get a handle on this very quickly. Usually within a week to 2 weeks, you'll know exactly how you're spending your time. So the first method is really old school. It's very, very simple. You just take a little ringed notebook or a little to-do list or something like that, something that you just can write things down on. And you start keeping track of what are you spending your daytime hours doing when you're supposed to be running your business. Okay, very important. So for example, when you get up and you get started, do you go to your computer? Do you go down to an office downtown? How much time you're spending in driving? Yeah, I track that too. I look at things like, how much time do I spend? I even look at stuff like how many times do we go to the washroom during the week? If you're in an office setting, you might actually go to the washroom and stop by somebody else's office and have a conversation. I track those as well. I start writing down everything that I do in a day, and I keep track of that for a week to 2 weeks so I can really have a good assessment of what I'm doing. It's not for the purpose of judgment. It's just for the purpose of knowing. How do I know how to make my time matter more if I don't know how I'm spending it? So I like to spend some time figuring it out. And one way is a simple way of just writing it down as you do things during the day. Now, many of us are doing a lot of business at home these days and working more online. And perhaps you're using a Google Calendar and or some kind of calendar. I love using my Google Calendar. One of the things I love about it is that I can color code it. And so I actually will make my appointments. For example, I'll make sales appointments and I color them in red. Why do I do that? Well, because I need to know exactly how many hours a week I'm spending in sales appointments, and it's easy to tell if I colored them all in red. I also have to spend a certain amount of time working with members of CIBN or working with some of my consultation clients. So I have those also color coded so I can quickly look into my calendar and see that I spent 8 hours this week working with clients, right? Very easy to make that assessment if color coded. I also have a team, and I'm talking to my team members regularly throughout the week and helping them get things set up, creating marketing programs, maybe working with the sales team. So I have those colored in gray in my calendar so I can easily tell how much time was I spending training my team or mentoring my team. And so that's clearly defined just by looking into the color coding in the calendar. It also helps if I do periodically a couple times a week go into my calendar and make sure that I update it. For example, maybe I had 7 sales appointments scheduled this week, but 2 people moved their time with me to another time, or someone didn't show up. Do I leave that in the calendar? Well, I certainly don't leave it red, okay, because that shows that I had a sales appointment. And if I didn't actually have the sales appointment, I definitely want to change the color at least. If I want to leave it there to be reminded that I need to rebook with this person, I might leave it there, but I'm going to change the color because that's what's helping me track where I'm spending my time. Now, why is the time tracking so important? Well, something I learned many years ago in business. I had a business coach, and I hope you have one too. Right early in my relationship with my business coach, she let me know a staggering assessment of my business by saying, that 20% of the things that you do is bringing in 80% of your revenue. And I was like, what? That can't be true. But I started looking at where I was spending my time and did this little time exercise where I wrote everything down in a book. And then I realized she was absolutely right. 80% of the revenue of my business was coming in from 20% of the activity. And I'm willing to bet that that's true in your business as well. Interesting, isn't it? So when I started drilling down into what was the 20% that was creating the revenue for me, I suddenly had a revelation that, wow, for me, it was sales, the selling process. So certain activities were a high priority to increase revenue. For example, the time that I would spend booking appointments. If I didn't have any appointments booked for sales appointments, then I needed to schedule the time to be booking. So I started to put into my calendar right away an hour or 2 hours a week where I did nothing but ask people for appointments. It's really important if you're going to time block that whatever you've time blocked that time for, that's what you use it for. It's got to be incredibly sacred to you because you are that important. Your business is that important. You can't let anything else interrupt that time because that is the time that you're going to get these sales appointments booked. And without sales appointments being booked, you don't make any sales and revenue is going to crash, which means it's not going to be very fun, as being part of your company, right? For you or for anyone else. So you really got to focus on what is it that creates the revenue. Well, booking the appointments creates revenue. Having the appointments creates revenue. Closing the sale, that creates revenue. Doing a follow-up, another important factor, often creates revenue. I found for me, these were very important pieces in the sales cycle. And if they weren't getting done, then guess what was happening? I wasn't making enough revenue. So that's often for most business owners a place to begin is what's happening in your sales process. As you grow and as you scale, it may be that you have a sales team that is doing some of this stuff. Same thing should be happening. You need to be tracking their time. Are they spending the time on the sales activities that create revenue for the company, or are they spending it somewhere else? Now, this is so important. I found over the years working with many different business owners that sometimes people feel like they're very, very busy in their business, and they are, but they're not doing the things that create revenue. I'll give you some examples. I've met network marketing people who maybe they had some money coming in and then it seemed to slow down and they can't figure out where they're going wrong. Well, what we do when we find out what they're spending their time at, we find out that they're spending time nurturing the existing team and not going out and getting new members for their team. It's comfortable. It's fun. It's great talking with friends who already know you and love you. It's hard to go out and talk to new people. See what I'm saying? So they're not really realizing that. I've also met people who spend a lot of time taking training. They're going to courses. They're watching videos. They're attending meetings, maybe recruitment meetings where they're supposed to take somebody, but they're not taking anybody. They're just showing up to support the team. All of those things are good activities, but they're not revenue producing activities. So the things that produce revenue have to do with sales. They have to do with creating appointments, doing one-on-ones, following through with the sales appointment, and if they don't show up, rebooking the appointment. Not taking it personally that they didn't show up. You have no idea why they didn't show up. Many of us as salespeople in our business, we start to make up excuses for the people who don't show up. We're like, oh, they must have got too busy, or something came up, or maybe something happened in their family. You know what? You have no idea what the reason is. And maybe you're saying to yourself, well, they don't like me. They didn't want to meet, or they don't have the money to do this anyway. Without having the appointment, we have no idea why they didn't make the appointment. So we need to stop making up lies. Okay. I always say, in the absence of real information, we like to make up stuff. We don't want to be doing that. Okay. We just want to be remaking the appointment. And if they're ghosting us, it doesn't mean that they don't like us. It might mean something's going on. We have no idea. So don't make up information. Just try again. And if it doesn't work out, put them on the side for a while, go find some more, come back to them later in another week or 2 or 3, whatever it is. But just keep following the process. So if we have found that the one thing that is making us more revenue, for example, is sales, when we need to spend more time on selling, if 20% of what we do is creating 80% of our income, a very simple way of increasing income is double the amount of time that you spend on the income producing activity. Now, I know somebody out there is going, but I just don't have the time. I'm so busy. I'm fulfilling what the customer needs. All right. Oftentimes, the easiest thing to train someone else to do isn't fulfilling the customer's needs. Okay. Or we might be able to train someone else to do the appointment setups for us. A virtual assistant might be able to set up more appointments, and all we have to do is then show up for the sales appointment. See what I'm saying? We need to manage our time in a way that we're getting more time in front of the sales process. Another thing that we tend to do is we book things that are comfortable during our best selling time. And that is a real problem. Okay. If you want to trash your business and suck it dry of all profit, you should definitely take courses during the time when your customers want to talk to you. Okay. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. All right. What you really want to do is take your training and do your marketing and fix your social media funnel after 3 or 4 o'clock. If your clientele is business owners, for example, my clientele is business owners, and they tend to want to see me between 10 a.m. and 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on weekdays. So all of our marketing funnels and all of the things that we're doing and the overseeing of teams and all of that stuff, I try to do that earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon. If I'm trying to get a project done, like maybe I'm writing a book, I make sure that I spend time doing that later in the afternoon or perhaps on a weekend, because my sales time is incredibly important, or sales are not going to get made. You see how time management really, really matters in order to increase the revenue of your business? This is really, really important. And sometimes we go, well, I need to take this course and it's a high priority that I get this done because I get this, put initial behind my name. Well, maybe, but is it high priority that you're doing it during the best time to be selling? How does the bank account look? If the bank account is dry, then the time that we're spending selling needs to be the primary time that's best for our customer, not what's best for us. Okay? Because we got to get in front of them in order to make those sales. So this has been really, it was a huge revelation to me when I first learned this. In fact, when I did the math on it, I realized I was costing my company hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by not paying attention to where I was spending my time, and by not focusing enough time on the stuff that made the majority of the money for my company. And I think that many people that I've worked with over the years have come to similar revelations about time management. There are many tricks and tips and hacks we can give you for time management, but that is really one of the best ones that I've ever seen. And it's something that you can apply to your business very quickly. First of all, do an assessment. Where am I spending my time? Then go through your assessment and look at it and go, what are the activities that bring in the most revenue for my business, and highlight them. Then look at what else you're spending your time on. What could be scraped off? What could you do less of? Who could you give away? What could you give away to someone else and delegate it so that you give you a little bit more time to spend on the thing that actually is producing the revenue? And then look at those revenue producing activities and think about, what could I do to increase the time there? For many people, if it's sales, one thing is just time block some time every week for an hour or two to book the sales appointments. That right away is going to make a difference as long as you spend that time doing that thing. I hope that helps too. I'm Kerry George with CIBN TV. You can find more of these videos on CIBN TV on YouTube. And you can also find us by following us at the CIBN.com. That's our website. And you can reach out to us as well. And we would love to see you at some of our up and coming events. You can find us at the CIBN.com/events. Come on out and join in for some of the networking, some of the sales training, the courses, or reach out to us, and we would love to help you in your business. One thing that I recently came out with that I think might be of assistance to you today, a free resource for you, is came out with this book called Networking: How Entrepreneurs Can Work Together to Outwit the Wolves in Business. What wolves? Oh my goodness, there's so many. There's wolves like taxation. There are wolves like people you pay to do jobs that don't get the work done. There are wolves like, I don't know, things that suck up your time. How about that? Things that suck up your time that don't actually have a return. So how do you outwit those wolves? Well, if you go to the CIBN.com/outwitting the wolves, what you're going to find is a free download for this short ebook that will give you some great tips on how to outwit the wolves in your business. And I hope that you enjoy that. And I hope to see you soon at CIBN TV on YouTube or at one of our events. Talk to you.